What's up guys, how's it going? I am Miles at Miles of Color everywhere online. If you're new here, that's the shtick, now you know, that's who I am. Today we're doing a special little video, which is a continuation of my series Behind the Edit. This is episode, I'm gonna say 20, I could be wrong, I think it's 20. Yeah, quick little life updates. Check out my most recent video if you wanna see kind of interesting talk about where I stand with photography and all that stuff and this channel. It would mean a lot to me if you would check it out. It's 10 minutes, grab a drink, watch the video, edit or something while you have the audio on in the background. Doesn't matter, but it would mean a lot to me if you kind of, see what's going on here so you know exactly what to expect from this channel and from me as an individual. That being said, didn't think I'd be making one of these videos anytime soon, but I was like, screw it. I have this amazing photo of my friend Lauren at Lauren Gav on Instagram, and I just wanted to show you the edit breakdown because I actually edited this whole thing on my iPad, which was awesome, but it took me days, man. It took me, I think, like a week to get there, and that's not that this edit would normally take me that long, but I wanted to do everything on my iPad, no crutch, leaning into using Photoshop on my computer, which is like my comfort zone. And yeah, ended up using 3 apps actually. Ended up using Lightroom Mobile, ended up using Procreate, which is a painting app, and then I used Affinity Photo for the majority of the work because Photoshop on iPad is still booty. Before we hop over here on to the iPad, I just want to know if any of you actually edit with an iPad. I'd love to know because I'm considering making some tutorials and some courses on it, which by the way, if you want any of my actions or my current portrait editing tutorial, you can use a special code YouTube2020 to get fat discounts on my website linked down below. It would mean a lot if you go check it out. Check it out. Let me know what you think. But yeah, currently thinking about doing that on the iPad. Okay, let's hop on over here and get started. So this is the original photo, no editing done here. I had a cool little video light pointing upwards on a tripod towards Lauren's face here, which is the orange light, and then we just found this really cool building in Los Angeles, downtown Los Angeles actually, and used it as a backdrop. The whole idea was I wanted to put some fire or something or lightning in her hands and turn her into a low-key superhero. This is everything I did in Lightroom. Really just boosted up my exposure for the most part. That's kind of all I ever do in Lightroom, and then I think I messed around with the temperature a little bit just to bring it over to the left and give it a nice blue hue. And when I was done with all that, I just went up here to the top right corner, and then I went to, I believe it was open in or edit in. Let's click, I think it's open in. And that just renders a JPEG of the file that you're working with. And then yeah, I did copy to Affinity Photo, and let's go into Affinity Photo and open that up. So wow, look at all these layers, dude. Oh my god, this was a huge project, but it's really cool. So I will say, as far as free programs go, I haven't found any that really hit the spot, but Affinity Photo is only 20 bucks, I believe, right now on the Apple Store, and I think that's a really good deal for basically Photoshop. That's like paying for Photoshop $20 once versus paying $20 every single month of the year on top of whatever Adobe subscriptions you have as well, right? So I think it's a really good investment if you plan on even editing on your desktop and your iPad or just your desktop. Check out Affinity Photo. I think there's a demo version, not totally sure, could be lying, but even the desktop version is 60 bucks. So check it out. Shouts out to Affinity Photo here. So Affinity Photo does have this thing called a persona. Well, all these up here are personas. So you have like your selections and liquify and all this stuff, but you also have one, oh, there's an export one I haven't messed with before. You also have one that will open up as soon as you open a raw file here, which is basically like Camera Raw or Lightroom, where you make basic adjustments and then open up the photo into the program. After that, I didn't need to do that since I already did that in Lightroom. So the first things I did here, let me show you. So here's what we had on Lightroom, right? I actually used frequency separation to take out the text on Lauren's shirt here on the sides. And then later I came in and took out these hairs because they were very distracting, to be honest. Now let's open up this giant group, which is where all of the fun and the literal and figurative magic happened. So the first thing I did is I do like that kind of white light coming in behind Lauren's head, but it just was an odd shape. I didn't really like it. I feel like it kind of took away from the photo. And this alone took me hours to figure out what I want to do. I tried background replacements and all these different things, but I ended up just extending the background here. And yeah, you can tell it looks stretched. It looks a little goofy, but I knew that we could do something with it. I knew I could kind of blend it in. So this is something that I've been doing recently, is actually painting. So this is just some paint that I added in and then masked. I just grabbed some blue colors around the image and just tried to add in some shading here on the sides, and just tried to add some, I don't know, some depth and some shapes to this to make it more like a believable wall, right? And then added a little bit of kind of bright bokeh lights here and stuff, just to kind of add some continuity from the bottom of the image to the top of the image as well. And then yeah, here I just added some masks just to kind of correct what I was doing and just make it a little more clean. I had some light coming in on the side of her face here, which I didn't really want yet since I'm going to manipulate later. And then I thought that was a little crooked, so I tried to do this just to clean it up a little bit. It's not perfect. It's probably my most insecure part of the photo, but I think most people won't notice it after all of the work that I put into it. So, I mean, that's the goal with a composite anyways, right? Next is local dodge and burn, which is a retouching method. I didn't go too crazy here. I'm actually kind of straying away from doing a lot of high retouching now. I kind of want to stay true to people's faces. I'm sure that might change photo to photo, but for this photo, I wanted you to know like that this is Lauren, basically, and I wanted her to feel like this is what she looks like as well. Yeah, so that's the before and after there. And then I have the global dodge and burn. So local dodge and burn is basically like smoothing out the skin and taking away blemishes and all these things and taking away those textures on the skin. It kind of evens it out very manually. And then the global dodge and burn is like enhancing. So yeah, let's just walk through this and I'll show you. So here's the dodge and burn that I did, and I really just kind of amplified the shadows on her face and then her body as well. Just gave her that kind of like, I kind of made her just like Captain Marvel over here with the dodge and burn. And then I added another layer where I just did some dodging on her eyes. And the way I do this is actually I'm just painting white or black on a blank layer and then blending that on soft light. That's all I'm doing here to really get my dodge and burn. A lot of people use like the curve tool or the actual dodge and burn tools, but me personally, I actually like just painting the color. I don't know, it's kind of weird. It's just, that's what I do. And then I also added in some blush here, just a little bit of color into her skin because it was a little pale and I just wanted to, you know, psych it up a little bit, whatever that means. Psych it up, Miles. What are you saying, bro? I was gonna try this crazy eye glowing edit, but it just didn't work out, but it was kind of cool. I still think it's kind of cool, but I just couldn't figure it out. I just couldn't make it work. Next is this really cool effect we added to Lauren's face here. I believe it was like a lightning JPEG or something. I'm pretty sure. If I can find it, I'll throw it on the screen so you guys can see what I used. But then I used a perspective warp and just shifted it to make it look like it was on her face and to fit her neck as well. So there's a lot of post-production that went into this. And you can already see there's a little mistake right here. Let's add this mask. Maybe it's gone. Yeah, okay, I took that out with the mask. Yeah, so that's the photo so far. Next is this body glow. So you see on her tracksuit here, these lines, I really saw potential with the lines going up and down her body. I thought it'd be really cool to add light to them, a colorful light in some way. This is a very blue centered photo. So typically in film and in color theory, you'd want to complement it with an orange, like the very popularized orange and teal look, or the very popular like orange and blue or red and blue look. So I was going for that initially, and I just used that color, but as I added in the magic later, I found that it was a little distracting, so I added this HSL shift, and I just changed it blue. And the way I did that in Affinity, you can just change the whole hue up here, and that's how I changed the color instead of painting it. And I just grabbed like an orange color and then painted and used color dodge to blend. You can do that in Photoshop. You can do that here as well in Affinity. And then the next part is this really cool backlight that I added into the image. Let me take the layer mask off real quick. So I just painted white behind Lauren and used, once again, I believe a soft light. Yep, soft light to blend. And this is something I've really been doing a lot, is actually just painting with my images, just painting on a color or painting on white or black to be the light or the darkness that goes into the photo initially. And that's what I used here. So there's the before, there's the after. Let's bring the mask in. Now it's just behind her, basically to emphasize that light that we took out earlier that was kind of slanted and above Lauren's head. Next, along that same line, like I was talking about using paint, I did a vignette just with a black brush, just to bring focus straight on to Lauren. Because I'm posting on Instagram, all my work is basically centered. I'm not really messing around with composition too much because I only have, normally like a 4 to 6 inch screen to fill with my art. So doing anything like rule of thirds or any kind of different compositions usually doesn't pan out to my favor when working with such a small screen. So this is like a very close-up still image of Lauren, using her freaking magic and stuff like that. Next, oh no, cat's on my keyboard. Billy wants to say hey. He wants to say what's up real quick. Hey Billy. I'm just saving the image real quick as we hop over to Procreate so I can show you the next steps that we took here. Something that Affinity does a lot is just close the app or refresh the app in the background. So if you don't save, sometimes you can be a little screwed. Okay, so first things first, I drew in just like these dots to be bokeh in Procreate, and I basically just dropped in, I did a quick export from Affinity and then dropped this JPEG into Procreate, and I just wanted to draw on top of it to see if I could add anything in. So some parts of this image are old edits basically that went into it. Yeah, so don't be too thrown off by it being a little different, like the light in the background's different and stuff, but the edit has changed. Yeah, so here's the bokeh I added in, just some like blue circles basically that I did. Let me see if there's a brush that I used. Just kidding. So apparently Procreate only wants you to make 11 layers here. That's kind of weird. That's not very many layers to like make a painting, but whatever. Okay, so the bokeh's there. Let me try painting on this layer then. Yeah, so I think that's what I used, that bokeh brush, but I also might have just painted it regularly. I don't really remember, but that bokeh brush is there if you ever want to use it. Pretty cool. Next is some magic. So I tried different things out here. I tried having this kind of cool like jellyfish looking thing going around Lauren. Then I tried changing like colors, and I think these two went together too. And I was just messing around. I've never really used this program before, but it has really awesome brushes. And here are the ones that I ended up going with as well. Yeah, I believe it's these ones right here. And this is everything that I use, and then eventually what I wanted to do to bring them in to Affinity is I just took out the background layer here, and then I just exported as a PNG, and then I brought it back over to Affinity Photo. And like I said, Affinity Photo closes. See how it closed in the background even though I didn't close the app? Let's hope that we're where we're supposed to be. Also, my cat is laying on my keyboard right now, so that's tight. All right, now both my cats are on the desk. What's up, Elsa? Say hello to the camera. Here's your internet fame. Yes, ma'am. There it is. Mwah. We're getting off the desk for now. Come on, Billy. Oh, he's so big. I have the smallest cat. Dude, I went to the vet, right? And I was kind of worried about her size because she's so small. She's like 6 months, but she's like 8 pounds. They're like, oh yeah, she's small for a cat, but it's fine, like she'll be okay. And then he's also the same age, and he's like 12 pounds, and he's huge. What? You upset? Go be mad down there. Yeah, little side, topic that doesn't matter at all. But thought I'd talk to you about my cats. Okay, so let's bring in the bokeh here. I think I blended them on screen as well. And then let's bring the magic in. This damn cat, bro. Get out of here. And the reason it looks different is because I did blend them. So I think I'm using like screen and stuff like that. Let's see. Or I'm using pen light on this orange burst. I'm using screen on this kind of like water brush right there. And then I also drew in a glow to be in the middle, just like with an orange brush as well. And then this bit on her hands, I don't think I didn't blend it. I just kept it the way it was and then did a little mask to make it, more confined to her fingers. If we zoom in here, it looks really like it's kind of forming around her fingers, which I was really lucky that there's a brush. I think that's like a water brush that I use to get that effect. Thank God for Procreate, dude. I actually got to paint these effects on Lauren, which is pretty cool. Never thought I'd be able to do that in like a million years, but here we are. All right, last but not least is the coloring phase, which here, let's just do like a before and after. That's pretty crazy so far, right? Like, yeah, that's a lot of work here. And next I just did, let's see, some selective coloring. So something I really have been liking with selective coloring is I'm actually adjusting. You have some options to adjust like the shadows, the midtones, the highlights. So I've been doing that and just adding in some kind of like more like greenish tones and stuff like that. And then here's color balance, which I basically just did the same thing here. You can see all of the adjustments that I made on the bottom of the screen. And I just wanted to give this more of like a classic kind of green look. So I'm really leaning into that with my curve tool as well. There's my master curves, and then here is red. So I'm really bringing in those green tones. And I can make a video about the tone curve as well. Is that what it's called? Tone curve? I always call it something else. I don't know. And then I just think I literally copied this and then blended it. Yeah, blended that to color. Just to add in a little bit more. And then once I was done, I added these all into a group, and then I clicked up here and made a duplicate of that layer, and then I clicked rasterize on that duplicate, and then I did a high pass filter as well as some noise onto the final image here, just to give it a nice kind of fine art vibe. Last but not least, I did my final adjustments in Lightroom Mobile here. Here's the before, here's the after. Let's walk through that real quick. I know that I actually painted on some exposure to her face right here. Yeah, I brought up the exposure and the shadows, and then down here, what did I do? I added clarity to the magic as well with that brush. Let's go back here and see what else we did. Yeah, a ton of light adjustments, contrast up, exposure up, highlights down, shadows down, whites down. I don't really have, much to say about this whole part of the process, because it's really about just going with your gut, going with your eye here when it comes to the final little adjustments. The saturation +1, I think that was an accident. I don't think you have to worry about that. A little bit of vignette, bringing the clarity down just to soften up the other details of the image here. And then I added some overall sharpening just to bring the sharpening up a little bit more. All right, guys, so that was it. That was the entire edit. Thank you for joining me along this journey. Yeah, hope you liked it. I have a few more videos coming up soon. When I went to San Francisco, I actually messed around with a film camera for the first time. So once I get that developed, if the pictures aren't complete shit, I'm going to make a video about that as well, and just some other things. Also, let me know who you would like me to have on my podcast as a guest. Yeah, cool. I'm Miles of Miles of Color, everywhere online. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.